Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. So sorry for the late start. Um, I was taking a nap and somehow got time just slipped away. I'm so sorry, everybody, to get started so late. My name is Tracy. I hope everybody's doing well. Um, Probably going to be a short podcast. I know I usually say that and then I end up going an hour, but I suspect this podcast will be short um, just because of the topic, and this is pretty straightforward. I do have some bills to pay. Um, Remember to hit that subscribe button. Subscribing to the channel is easy, it is free. Um, Subscribing allows you to show your support for the channel. Remember to subscribing also helps me to reach that 1,000 goal that I have for the end of the year. It's going a little slow. We haven't picked up any new subscribers yet. Um, so far since I think the last time. Sorry, you guys, my little toe is hurting here. Um, we haven't picked up a subscriber since I want to say August. That's the last time we picked up someone. So please hit that subscribe button. Um, Also, subscribing is free, and also hit that notification button, hit that notification bell so that you'll be notified when I go live. Again, subscribing is totally free, totally can do it. Appreciate your support. Also, you can support me on Patreon. I will be making a special announcement on Patreon today. I said I was going to be doing it until February 2026. So, Patreon support is going to allow me to keep this channel going financially. It does cost money to go live. Equipment costs money. Um, the second computer costs money. Um, Everything that we do or I do costs money. Sorry about that. Had to get that out of the camera view. And so we need your support. Also, Patreon. I said that Patreon support starts at $2, and there will be a Patreon exclusive show only. The only way you'll be able to see the new show is to support on Patreon, starting at $2 a month. I'll talk more about that here in just a moment. Of course, you can always comment, you can always like, and well, that didn't work. Not sure what's happening with this table. Everything's kind of falling off. You can also share. Any of those actions helps us to get to where we're needed at. I see I don't see my normal people in here yet, but that's okay. Just want to show that you can also share. I don't know what's wrong with this. It's not level, looks like. So you see today's topic, unnecessary characters we hate. So when I was coming up with this list, let me take this off. Um, it was pretty simple. These are characters that for some reason a show just decided, you know what, we got to get ratings up. The other characters are getting older, and usually these all are all children, but sometimes, very rarely, would an adult be added. But in my case, or the countdowns case, they're all children. One is animated. I already know when I say it, people are like, that's not a child. Well, it was added when I was a child, right? So there's that. And like I said, the show, they add that character because the show is getting old, and people, you've seen it. It happens to so many shows. And you're like, well, what you serve no purpose. And again, usually it's a child. So these shows added a character, and I just could not stand the character. I don't know why. Why this character was added to the show. They literally added nothing. Let's start off the list with the top one, cousin Chili Bow Haircut Oliver. This unnecessary, unfunny, unhuman, unlovable character made absolutely no sense. I'm trying to get over so I don't. Um, yeah, there we go. Made no sense, right? So cousin Oliver was the nephew of Carol Brady, and his parents were architects or lawyers or something, and they just said, hey, we need to get rid of this kid. This character was brought in because, again, the Brady kids were getting older. So instead of pivoting the storylines to Greg is having problems in college, Marsha's having separation issues, let's not do that. Let's get an unfunny chili bow haircut child, and that'll fix it. That will fix it. No, it didn't. Cousin Oliver was completely useless. There was no point. He served no point. Cousin Oliver served no point. I didn't understand it. I did not like it. I was just like, and it was the very last season, right? Because as soon as the characters added, right, we call it jumping the shark. Um, it's when a show is ran its last course and it's like it's time for it to go. Well, this is the Brady Bunch's last season, and yet it was time to go. It was time. It was like, you know what? You had a good little run there. Just go off into the sunset. Um, be happy that you lasted as long as you did, and just be content with that. But no. Let's add. What was he? 8 or 9? He was a little kid. I know that he was a little kid. And so, like I said, sorry you guys, but I'm trying to get all these adjustments made so I can get ready for my next show. And nothing seems to be working. Yeah, I can't find my mouse. Okay. I'm sitting here trying to talk about cousin Oliver, and my mouse is gone. Okay, let me hold on a second, everybody. Sorry about this. Okay, so there's no mouse. I know there's a mouse. I just literally had it. Oh my goodness. Well, shoot. I was trying to share something, but oh well. Guys, I may have to cut this short. I can't find anything. Nothing is coming up the way that I want it to. Everything is coming up. Nothing is coming up roses for me. I'm like, okay. Okay, so I'll just wait until the stream is over to try to find that mouse. If not, I got one sitting here right in front of me. I'll just have to go buy a battery for it. Yep, there's a little plug. But yeah, cousin Oliver just so useless. it's like, what are you doing on this show? It's not like the Brady Bunch was this award-winning great show. It was campy, but that was the point of it. That's why we loved it, because it was about these six kids. They're learning to be a family. They're learning to work together. Somehow they all have the last name Brady, which makes no sense because the girls really weren't Brady's, they were Martins. I could see the mother changing her name to Brady because she married Mr. Brady. But it wasn't supposed to be like the way it was set up. It wasn't supposed to be like this groundbreaking show that just explored all types of topics. That was never the Brady Bunch, right? And Cousin Oliver he kind of accelerated that point. He he would literally, I mean, they would just like, okay, let's give Cousin Oliver this line to say. And the line they would give him, they weren't even funny. That's the thing. He was not funny, but he got all the supposed funny lines. And like I said, instead of pivoting the storyline to the kids who are getting older, um, Cindy and Bobby are entering high school. Um, you know, Marsha's having issues adjusting to college. She can't find a roommate. Da 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 da. No, don't do any of those things that would make common sense, or just say, you know what, we've had the common sense thing would have been to end the show, say, you know what, we had a good run, and we're just gonna do a finale show. Bring Robert Reed back, because remember, Robert Reed, and I'll get to my next choice here in just a moment. Robert Reed was feuding with the producers and the writers of the show because he was like, this is just too much. I think he was like a trained actor. So he took acting very seriously, although you ended up in all the Brady movies, but in the Brady variety shows. But he left because he was like, this is just ridiculous. This isn't what I signed up for. I don't want any parts of it. I'm gone. So he wasn't even in the cousin. I bet he was glad about that. Rest in peace, Robert Reed. Um, but Cousin Oliver, just at the top, the most useless additional character um, on a show that was unnecessary. My next choice, this show actually added two characters. One was older and one was like a child. And now I didn't watch every episode of this show. I didn't like this show, The Cosby Show. Didn't like it. I wasn't like watching it like that. But I did notice they added, I'm just gonna call her Maxine Shaw. Um, because I mean her name is Erica Alexander, but oh well. So we're gonna just call her, they added her as Claire's cousin that comes to live with her because she's out of control. Like, I don't know the circumstances of her um coming to live with them. But again, here's another show. Now, this show was supposed to be impactful, right? This show was supposed to be impactful, supposed to have this big, grand, great message, just Black pride and Black excellence, and yes, Black people can be doctors and lawyers and teachers and all those things, right? And somehow, again, this show was starting to wear, because when you this is a problem with putting children in a show. Those children are going to grow older. If you just, oh, hold on a second. If you concentrate your show around children, and yes, the Cosby Show did it. I'm not going to sit here and argue, but they concentrated it on their six kid, five. It was either they had six kids total or five kids total. I forget which one. But when those kids grow older, instead of pivoting with their problems, you bring in this new character that nobody cares about, and then you show their problems, but somehow you forgot about the other five or six kids that existed. It's like, where did they go? what happened. And then they added Little Raven Simone. Now this one I do know. She played Olivia, the stepdaughter to Denise. Denise, yeah, that sounds right. She was Denise's stepdaughter because Denise married some dude in the military, and she was supposed to take Rudy's, I guess Rudy's place because Rudy was like now 9, like she was getting like up in those, she was in those double digit ages. That's when kids stop being cute for TV. Like when they start reaching 11, 12, 13, 14, it's like, ooh, unless you originally start with them being a teenager and you've seen them a kid and then they make that transition to teenagehood, ooh, it don't be going well. So instead of saying, oh, look, Rudy's becoming this young lady, they could have explored Rudy gets her first period. Um, the one that wanted to be the doctor, but she ended up opening up a boutique or a Goodwill or something, whatever that character was. They could have explored that. They could have explored the one episode I remember, Denise going to Baltimore for a concert. No, that was actually the episode. I don't know what Denise's point was, but whatever, they could have explored. She married the janitor or somebody in college or something. You can tell I didn't watch the Cosby Show a lot, so I totally forget like what ended up happening. But they could have explored what was happening with those kids. They could have shown Claire at her actual job. I think one time they showed her doing lawyer stuff. And they could have did it that way. They could have shown Claire, experiencing misogyny in the workplace, racism in the workplace, her starting her own firm. They could have did that. Nope. Let's just bring in two characters that literally made no sense. This is what we'll do. This will get ratings up. I think the Cosby Show stayed on, I want to say 9 years, and that's a long time for a sitcom. That is a long time. I mean, if I'm right, wait a minute. Hold on. Because now I'm curious. I'm looking at my purse to find my phone. Because I'm going to figure out how long the Cosby Show stayed on. Okay. Well, today my internet is real slow, guys. Sorry. How long did the Cosby Show stay on? Okay, I was wrong. It was 8 seasons. That's still long. I mean, 8 seasons? That is still um that's still that's a long time. 8 years for a sitcom. Sitcoms usually last maybe tops 5 years. Heck, Happy Days lasted 10. Um and no, I'm not going to talk about this is probably going to be another one where I do more characters because I'm not doing like every single character like Chachi or Cola, and I'm concentrating on smaller kids. Although I did use the Cosby Show and used the like a teenage girl, but the next show or the next TV character, and this one is an old school one. I'm trying to find this one on my phone because I don't know the name of the character. I just know the show really went left when this show got at when this character was at, well, no, I do. Mm. Um, I know the show went left when this happened, and I do know the name of the show, The Partridge Family. Okay, so I remember the Partridge Family. They're a family, single mother and kids the same, and they had I don't know the names of the characters, but it was Danny Bonaducci, um, Susan Day, Shirley Jones, David Cassidy, that little redhead girl, I think her name was Tracy. And they would just sing little songs, and they added this character. And he wasn't like the cousin. I think he was like the next door neighbor. And they just let him sing songs. He wasn't related to him. He wasn't like, you know, Danny them classmate or nothing. He just showed up, and I think that was the last season of the Partridge Family. I may have to do more research on that one because one, I can't think what that little child's name is, or was. I can't think of the actors that played on the show, and I can't think of the name of the character on the show nor the actor that played the character. But I can remember it was just like, oh, let's get a little cute kid a song to sing. Isn't that cute? Look at the cuteness. Look, oh, it's so cute. It's not cute. It's not cute. It's not. It's not cute. It's not. It's just not. But I can't go on a tirade on that one because I just don't have enough information on that. But I'm going to come back to this topic. But next we can move to Sam from Different Strokes. This is probably the best example of a additional child character ruining a show. Now, if you watch Different Strokes like I did, like seasons 1 through maybe 4, yeah, seasons 1, I would say 1 through 3. I'll say 1 through 3. So seasons 1 through 3, Different Strokes was everything. You had Mr. Drummond, his daughter Kimberly, I think her name was Kimberly. Then he adopted 2 black boys, Willis and Arnold, because their mother used to work for Mr. Willis, right? So you had the whole dynamic set up. Mr. Drummond dealing with racism. Yes, they dealt with racism. Remember that one episode that guy was like, well, why did you adopt black children? Blah, 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 blah. And they were exploring, like Willis dealing with the death of his parents because both his parents were gone. They dealt with a lot of stuff those first 3 seasons. And Gary Coleman, rest in peace, he was just so cute with them cheeks. It was like, oh, look at them cheeks. Look at them cheeks. You just want to squeeze them cheeks. Like, oh, look at them cheeks. You want to squeeze. But then again, the cuteness wears off because he got older. And remember, I forget the disease that Gary Coleman had that prevented him from growing. So he stayed relatively the same size, but his features, his face aged because he got older. So the producers and the writers thought, hey, let's get Mr. Drummond a woman and have that woman bring in a son. And that son was named Sam. Not cute, not funny, and also for some reason had a chili bowl haircut and it was like the 80s. Didn't add not one thing to the show. Didn't add a level of, I'm coming to this show. Like, if they were going to do this, which they shouldn't have, because like once Gary Coleman started aging, they could have just said, okay, it's over. And remember, Dana Plato, who played Kimberly, she had severe substance abuse issues. So they wrote her out. They were like, okay, bye, girl, go to Europe or whatever. That's what they did to her. They sent the character off to Europe. So she wasn't coming back. And Willis, for some reason, they just said, Willis who? They didn't have him getting his own apartment. They didn't have him getting a job. They didn't have him going to college. He was just kind of there, but never said anything. I'm like, Willis, where you going? What you talking about, Willis? Had to do that. Um, but it just didn't. It was like, so they added Sam, and the way this could have worked, although I don't think it would have, but it could have worked. Like, say, okay, we're going to explore Arnold. I mean, they tried to explore Arnold and Sam's relationship, but they did it in a way that didn't make sense, right? They could have explored, okay, here's this new family member coming into the dynamic. Already have, he was raised as he was raised as an only child, and now he's got these pretend siblings who happen to be black. That could have possibly worked, but no, the writers gave Sam lines that weren't funny. They made him, he was supposedly cute. I didn't get it. I didn't like it. I'm like, take this show off. And remember, they used to be on NBC. NBC was like, you know what? We've had enough of this. We have had enough of you, little Gary Coleman and Mr. Drummond. Y'all gone. And then ABC picked them up and they totally changed the theme song. Ugh. It was like, know when your time is up. Just know it, accept it, embrace it. Say, you know what? We did some really good things the first 3 seasons. They really did some good things. They introduced the facts of life. They talked about child pedophilia. That, although that was in later seasons, they talked about when Arnold and Kimberly got kidnapped by that hitchhiker. Oh, when they was hitchhiking, I think, and they got kidnapped. That was like, okay, this, they could have taken that concept, that type of writing, and used it on Sam. Like, how does Sam relate to Mr. Drummond? How does Sam relate to Arnold? Not only as his stepbrother, also as his black stepbrother. No, he just came in accepting it. And I'm saying it because, you know, in a show, you have to have conflict. You have to have conflict. Conflict is what makes shows go. It was literally right there. And they just said, no, 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 no. I'm trying to think of who else did oh, shoot. This is where I'm missing my mouse at. Let me see if I can do it on my, let me see if I can do it on my, let me see if I can do it on my. So what I'm trying to do is remember all the children, all the little children of the world that room in shows. That room in shows. So I said, oh, I forgot about this. Andrew Keaton. Andrew Keaton was on a show called Family Ties. If you grew up in the 80s, I don't know why they moved it from Thursdays where they were doing pretty good because they followed the Cosby Show. Like, that was their niche spot, but I think NBC was trying to introduce other shows. Anyway, Family Ties was about these hippie parents that had 3 kids. Alex was the conservative Republican. Mallory was the fashionista. And then that other one, Tina Yothers. I know Tina Yothers played the character, but I can't think of the name of the character she played. So they had that. This show was fantastic. This show, the way they set it up with the conflict between Alex's idea of conservatism and his liberal parents, the scripts literally wrote themselves. I'm like, they didn't even have to think about it. They're just like, yep, let's just have this conflict. And of course, what happened was, and this is a little bit different. Yes, the characters were getting older. However, in this particular case, Michael J. Fox was becoming a huge. He'd already did, I believe, Back to the Future and Teen Wolf. And it was clear, okay, this is the star of the show. So they gave him a little mini Alex. I think that's the mistake they made. They tried to portray Andy as this little Alex, and he would just train him and have him in his little bow tie or his little tie, and he would say these cute little things. He just served no purpose. He didn't even have funny lines. This is the thing that bothers me when you add children to a show. You try to give these children funny lines and they can't pull it off. And it's not because they're not talented, it's because the writing is so bad that they're putting the wrong lines with the wrong they're putting the they're putting the wrong lines with the wrong characters. Instead of exploring Alex, what they could have did, like they could have, and I'll just go by each child because you want to give, each child their own platform. They could have had Alex dating, well, they did. They had Alex dating like a liberal, but they could have had explored him dealing with liberals and how that affected him and how this whole world was opening up for him, but it was full of people like his parents and that drove him crazy. And or they could have explored like him thinking, oh gee, my parents are right about this thing. How do I maintain my conservatism? Okay, we got it. Mallory, perhaps she goes off to be, I don't know, in fashion school. And now she's got to think, oh, I wasn't academically, she's not academic. I don't think she was academically gifted. But now she's got to think about becoming something that she never was to apply it to what she wants to do. The younger girl, the Tina Smothers or Tina Yothers, I forget her name that quick. I don't know what I think she played baseball in the show. I don't know. Just, I'm the youngest. I'm here. Why don't nobody pay attention to me? There were many options that they could have explored, but nope. What did they do? Add a useless little non-funny child that didn't make no sense. Andrew Keaton made no sense. And next one, I don't even believe she's not even in the picture. I don't know how I forgot about Chrissy Seaver. Growing Pains. Growing Pains for the first 3 seasons. This is another show after third season. It was like, was a great show. So you had Jason Seaver played a psychiatrist. And he moves his practice from his office to his home so that his wife, Maggie Seaver, can go back to being a full-time reporter because apparently she had teenagers who literally could watch themselves. So why is she being a stay-at-home mother? Never made sense to me because I'm like, girl, them kids are already. I was left alone. And I was like 9, maybe. I don't think I was 8. I was maybe 9 or 10, maybe. Like, did we kids in the 80s, did we live alone? Did our parents leave us and go to work? Latchy kids, that's what it was. Where if you were a latchy kid in the 80s, you were not left alone at like 15, 16. You were like 8, 9, 10. And what did your parents tell you? Don't open the door for anybody. That's what they told you. So I did, and so that's the setup of the show. And then they had 3 children. Mike, the not serious, not academically gifted child. Then you had the middle daughter, Carol, who was the extreme brainiac. And then you had Ben, basically, I don't want to say he's Beavis and Butthead because he was a little bit more brilliant than they were, but basically Ben. So they start to get older. Here is where it happens. The ratings start to fall because, again, the show concentrated on the kids. So instead of pivoting, Mike goes to college. They could have pivoted towards that. They could have pivoted towards Carol hanging around people that weren't necessarily as gifted as she is. They could have pivoted towards Ben finally finding a voice and trying to figure out who he is. Nope, don't do any of that. Let's bring in Chrissy as a baby. And here is the mistake that growing pains make. So when she's first born, it's like, oh, what a beautiful little girl. Then we go to summer break, right? They come back next season. Little girl, 5 years old. Oh, what the heck happened? How did she age from a little baby to 5 years old and everybody else stayed relatively the same age? What? Everybody else didn't jump 5 years. She literally jumped 5 years. We weren't supposed to notice. We're supposed to sit here and think, oh, yep, this is normal. This isn't so. That works, and it doesn't really work on soap operas, but I see why soap operas do it. One, because soap opera filming schedules are so intense because they're filming a show every single day. And to deal with a child and to let that child just grow up, that's not going to really work for them. They need to advance the age of that child so they can write in teen plots and adult plots. It makes sense if you're a soap opera. It doesn't make sense when you're a comedy. It don't make no sense. It don't make no sense when you are a sitcom to age a child like that. Little baby in the fall, summer break, comes back for the next fall season, 5 years old. What? And it wasn't that the little actor, because I don't call women actresses, that's not something I do, but the actor who they got to play Chrissy as a 5 to 7 year old was something Johnson, whatever her name was, Ashley Johnson. I'm just gonna call her Ashley Johnson. She wasn't terrible, but it was like, ooh, that aging thing. I'm just like, take this show off. Take it off. Oh my goodness. So before I get to my number one pick, I want to pause and play a commercial and talk about what I'm doing with my Patreon. So hang on a second, guys. We're going to play this commercial and I'll be right back.
Hey everyone, if you enjoy our content, consider supporting us on Patreon at TRACYMedia Fans for exclusive perks and to help us keep creating.
So that is, of course, our very brief announcement about our Patreon page. I said, hey, I'm going to talk about this and I'm going to do it right in the middle of the show to remind you that I do need your support on Patreon. Patreon support starts at $2. And what will happen in 2026 is there will be an exclusive Patreon program. You can't get it on YouTube. I won't show any clip. I might show a clip or two. But the whole episode will be on Patreon, which means, yes, you're going to have to pay $2 a month. I know, 50 cents a week, 7 cents a day. I'm trying to break this down where it makes sense, right? That support really is going to help. Again, that is our Patreon exclusive show, and it is one that I brought back an old program that I used to do. High heels and blue jeans. That show will be making its grand re-entrance, except for the difference will be this time we will have women who, like myself, have said the two-party system makes me sick, and we'll talk about ways that we can get rid of it and help our people do what our people should be doing and get the health care, get ourselves universal health care, talk about mutual aid. We're going to talk about a lot of things. So remember, you can only get, I think it's blue jeans and high heels, actually. Blue jeans and high heels. I haven't did the show in so long, I forgot the title. Blue jeans and high heels will debut starting in February. And so Patreon exclusive. You're not going to get it live on YouTube. You're not going to get it like a couple months down the road. You have to subscribe to my YouTube page. It's only $2 per month. I thank you in advance for your support. Let's get to the number one show because it's going to take me a little bit of time. This show is not live action at all. It wasn't in the 80s, but it was syndicated when I was a child, so it counts. Scooby-Doo, where are you? was perhaps the greatest cartoon of my childhood. You had four teenagers, Fred, Daphne, Velma, Shaggy, that solved mysteries along with their talking dog, Scooby Doo. And that show worked. The show was set up, there was a villain or a ghost that was haunting, or a clown. Remember the killer clown? The clown that was trying to destroy like the circus or something, and he had like that was a weird episode. But anyway, they would do these fantastic, funny chase scenes. Shaggy and Scooby would act scared. Then they would catch the criminal, and then the criminal would say, I would have gotten away with it too if it hadn't been for you meddling kids and this mangy mutt every episode. For some reason, another iteration of Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? This time I think it was called, hold on. Can't remember what this was called. What was the name of the show that Scrappy Doo was on? Nope. What was the name of the show that Scrappy Doo was on with Fred, Velma, Daphne, and Shaggy? They keep saying Scrappy Doo and Scooby Doo. No, that's the one with just Scooby, Daphne, Shaggy, Scooby, and Scrappy. I'm talking about the one, wait a minute. Which show was Scooby Dumb on? Wow. They just really not going to do what I needed to do. Oh my goodness. Hold on, y'all. What's new? Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Doo. All the versions of Scooby-Doo. The Scooby-Doo show? No, that's modern. 13 Ghosts. Pup named Scooby-Doo. Well, there was a show, I think it was the new Scooby-Doo, where it had Scooby-Dumb on some episodes, but anyway, they brought Scrappy-Doo in. Let me tell you how annoying Scrappy-Doo was. Yes, I put him in this category. No, Scrappy-Doo is not live action. When they tried that, it did not work, by the way. But anyway, Scrappy-Doo is animated. I still can't stand him. I don't understand. And then he had this little thing where he always wanted to fight. Like, why are you fighting? Like, puppy power. No, you're a pup. Stay in your place. Learn from your uncle. Be scared. Smoke weed. Nah. Allegedly eat edibles. Because I don't know what Scooby snacks were. Like, what were they? You just sat there and what did Scrappy Doo add to Scooby-Doo in the game? Nothing. It was just, they could have just left it. They could have just left it alone. Had it, maybe if they were just like, we're tired of the format. We want to try something new. Okay, well, Scooby-Dumb was something new, right? They added Scooby-Dumb. Now, he wasn't great, but, he was okay. Scooby-Dumb was okay. They didn't have him in every episode. They didn't try to make you like him. He was just there. And that's okay, right? That's okay for them to have it like that. It's okay. You can do it. And you can be feasible with that, right? Nope, not Scooby Dum, a Scrappy Doo. And here's a question. Was Scrappy Doo, okay, so Scrappy Doo is the nephew of Scooby Doo. Is he the child of Scooby's brother or Scooby's sister? Why can't he just be the child? Because dogs have a lot of puppies, right? They have like at least like a whole litter, or do cats have litters? I don't have pets, so I don't know. But I'm like, well, why can't he just be Scooby's son? That would have kind of made more sense. But then I guess they would have had to bring on Scooby Doo's girlfriend, and then that would have been weird because at that time they still weren't having couples live together like that, and then they're animals. So like, would he get a wedding or something? But anyway, Scrappy Doo probably is the most hated additional character that a show added and did not need. There was no reason. I literally mean no reason to say, hey, let's add this character and let's make it funny. He didn't have funny lines. He always did this. I always wanted to fight. And did you actually see him fight? Nope. But he was going to do this. He was going to do this. And he was going to do this. Looky here, you little puppy. Know your place. Do what your uncle does. Run from stuff. And then be brave. You know, Scooby-Doo did that a lot. Like, it was like, no, I'm scared. I'm going to go hide. But in the end, he would do something brave to redeem himself. Do that. Don't be like, hey, bye. Boy, bye. They did not have to add Scrappy Doo. He was unnecessary. And no, I did not like him. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it. I know it's going to be a second part to this. It's not going to be next week. But remember to join me at 7 o'clock tonight for the Justice is Here podcast, where I will be interviewed. Yes, I am being interviewed on my own podcast. It's going to be great. That starts at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Appreciate you watching it. Remember to subscribe to the channel, like this episode, comment, share, subscribe, comment, like, and share. Appreciate you. We're going to do the outro, and we will see you when we see you.